Good morning, traders, and welcome to NewsWares Trade Talk for Monday, December 22nd. Okay, let's get into the action. Take a look at the markets this morning. I'm watching the S&Ps. We're rallying. We're up 0.42%. We've been up, all morning long, and we'll continue to gain. So that's kind of positive walking into today. I mean, the gains are really led by technology stocks. Tech stock has really been his turn. The sentiment is positive ever since those Micron earnings last week. These tech stocks have been getting the lift, and it's good to see. You still have a lot of geopolitical headlines out there. You got the U.S. and its maritime action in Venezuela. That's kind of causing some concern. And of course, there's a Russian-Ukraine peace talks that happened over the weekend where no breakthrough happened, but the diplomatic efforts are really intensifying. They really want to get an end to this conflict. On the macro front, no big economic reports, but tomorrow you get the third quarter GDP advanced numbers that's scheduled for release. That could be something there. Cleveland Fed Bank President Beth Hammack, she spoke over the weekend, and she opposes any near-term rate changes on interest rates. So, that's kind of as expected. She's a big hawk. In corporate news, Honeywell trading lower after cutting its Q4 EPS guidance. Lilly is reportedly considering taking over another drugs company. You're looking at the earnings action. There's nothing there. There's no real earnings coming out today. Really this week. I mean, it's going to be a real light week for earnings. But let's take a look and let's see what's happened overseas in the overseas markets. And we're going to start off with we're going to start off with the DAX. And, the DAX is now higher, but it's higher by 1 point, which is 0.00. So there's not much to say there for the DAX. That is going to be trading. The European markets do close early this week. They're going to be a half day on Wednesday. Thursday they're closed, and Friday they're closed. But the DAX is up 1 point. Some gains in tech, offsetting some weakness in defense stocks. So FTSE in London down 40 points, or down 0.41%. Defense stocks, healthcare stocks are weakening. In France, the CAC is down 0.36%. Political uncertainties persist after the French government failed last week to approve the 2026 budget. Now there is plans to create a special law later today to ensure the government spending continues, but still the market's still trading a little weak. Then we're taking a look at Asia last night, and Asia was seeing green. We're looking at the Nikkei. The Nikkei jumped 1.81%, or 895 points. Broad gains, basically you got a weakening yen, and that's good for equities on the Nikkei. Then you look at the Hang Seng Index in Hong Kong. That was up 111 points, or 0.43%, led by tech stocks. And China also saw strength in tech. They were up 0.69%. PBOC kept their policy rates unchanged. They're still at low levels, though. Then we're going to take a look at oil, and oil is trading higher this morning. We got oil up over 2%. You got WTI at $57.72. You got Brent at $61.73. So yeah, oil up over 2%. Mainly because they're looking at what's going on in Venezuela. They're a little bit of concern, but Venezuela is not a big producer of oil. They may make 1% of a million barrels a day. That's all they're doing. Okay, moving on. The earnings front, nothing really exciting happening. On the economic front, again, we're pretty mild, but the week ahead is typically pretty quiet. But the second estimate of the third quarter GDP is expected out tomorrow. That could be something to keep an eye on. What else? Let's take a look at the markets this morning and see what we see. I got 12 lower, 1 unchanged. That means I got 17 higher on the Dow. That's positive. And then my FANG stocks are all trading green, so I like to see that. That's positive. In terms of the news hidden behind the tape this morning, you're looking at Apple. They got fined by Italian regulators for $115 million over their app tracking policy. Google, Waymo, they ran into a power issue last week. Not with the cars, but San Francisco had a power issue that affected the stoplights that caused their taxis to stall. Now, Tesla is out there trying to take advantage of the situation, saying, we didn't have any issues. Yeah, but Tesla doesn't have a license to operate robo-taxis in San Francisco. So, it's not really the same. You're not apples to apples. Netflix, they secured $25 billion in new financing for that Warner Brothers deal. What else? They also hired a bunch of key Trump allies to help push that deal forward. What else do we have here? Tesla, Delaware Supreme Court restored Elon Musk's 2018 pay package. Stock's trading higher this morning. It's up 1.33%. We got to talk about NVIDIA here for a second. NVIDIA sees its H200 chips to China starting in mid-February. It's said that Chinese firms already have gained access to the Blackwell chip via cloud computing, though. Disney, their Avatar won the weekend's box office. In terms of merger news, ABVX, Apple Boy, Victor X-Ray, ABVX, stocks trading higher as Eli Lilly met with French officials to discuss a possible deal. Interesting. Honeywell, HON, trading lower as its 2026 guidance. They lowered it to $9.70 to $9.80. Street estimate is $10.56. Wow, that's ugly. That's ugly. Let's see what else we got here today. In terms of shareholders meeting, Electronic Arts, ticker EA, they're going to be having a shareholders meeting today. Starts at 5 p.m. In terms of catalyst calls, MRVL, Citibank on Monday opened up a 30-day catalyst watch on Marvell Technologies, MRVL. Okay, let's talk about today's pick of the day. I think we're going to see some good activity in Netflix today. Okay. Paramount just announced that they guarantee Larry Ellison's backing in an amended WBD bid. So they're still trying to make a play for Paramount, although Paramount really wants to, Warner Brothers really wants to go with Netflix. So they've amended their bid to say, hey, Larry Ellison is back in our bid. So we'll have to see what happens next. But, if you look at Netflix, they did hire a bunch of the top guns from the Trump administration, which could create some positive momentum for the deal. I'm talking they hired Kelly Conway, who used to be a Trump political advisor. They hired her consulting firm. They hired guys that are close to the administration in order to try and push that deal over the finish line. And then you look at Friday's call volume, 317,000 calls versus 261,000 puts. Open interest, 3.4 million on the call side, 2.9 million on the put side. Major brokers are lower in price targets, but they it's not like they dislike it. They just know that this is a big deal that they're taking up. But with this news on Netflix about Paramount Global doing another bid, I could see the stock falling down to 93.50 to 94, somewhere in that, but under 94. And if I could pick some up in that range, I bet I can make 1% on it today. I'm waiting on a little volatility in Netflix, NFLX this morning, and I'm hoping it drops down to the 93.75 range. But that's my pick of the day, Netflix, NFLX. Okay, let's take a look at the stocks that are making noise today, that are hitting the tape. Let's see what we got here. Shift4 Payments launches stablecoin settlement platform. Larry Ellison to provide $40.4 billion guaranteed for Paramount WBD offer. FLD, Fold Holdings, to be included in the Russell 2000 index. Cintas, they're going to acquire UniFirst, UNF, for $275 per share in cash. Yeah, that's all I'm seeing this morning. Okay, let's move on and let's talk about our stock of the day on Friday, which was Merck, ticker MRK. Hey, the stock opened up at $100.60, and then it fell down to $100.11, and then it rallied. It rallied up to 102.19. The problem is I wanted to get in under 100. I was waiting to get in 100, and I missed it. So, it was a winner off the opening price, but not for me. But Merck, MRK, rose more than 1% yesterday on Friday. So you can call it a win, but not for me because I never got in. But MRK in the green. Okay, traders, that concludes today's Trade Talk podcast. You guys know what to do. Let's go out there and let's make some green.